Hey everyone, welcome to the video. This one we're going over the Blu-Emu Maximum Pain Relief 500 at Martinsville Speedway on June 10th at 7 p.m. Eastern. But before we continue, as always, if you guys could just leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, you might as well hit that subscribe button because I'm going to be here all season long trying to help you guys become better NASCAR DFS players, and I cover other sports as well whenever they decide to return. So if you're new to the channel and you're going to be coming back each and every single race, you might as well hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out whenever I post new content. And looking at my YouTube analytics, I do know that 62% of the people watching these videos have not yet subscribed. So if you haven't already or you just forgot, you can hit that subscribe button, and I really do appreciate it. You can also follow me over on Twitter. I'm at ChrisPennell16. You can follow me over on Instagram at CPenn16. Don't really post much fantasy stuff there, mostly just my personal stuff. But if you're interested, feel free to follow me on Instagram. And if you're going to support me over on Patreon, that's always much appreciated. I really do appreciate all the Patreon supporters. Getting a large influx of new members, it seems like each and every single day. We're about 230 members now, which is crazy to me because I didn't know NASCAR would be this popular. So I do appreciate everyone that does support me on Patreon. I put a lot of time into the articles I write, the spreadsheet, the projections, put a lot of time in that. It's not something that's just really quick and simple. Put a lot of time and effort into this every single week. So I do appreciate everyone that does support me over on there. But if you want to, you hit that link in the description below and it'll take you to a page that looks like this. And this is just my Join Patreon page, so it just tells you everything you get access to. You get access to my entire NASCAR model, my cheat sheet, my data sheet, which I do preview for you guys on YouTube. I don't show you the whole extent of it because there's a lot of stuff on there. I think it's pretty good stuff too. My Discord chat where you can ask me all the questions you want at any time of the day. And you just come in and hang out too. I will pretty much talk to you at any point. There's a lot of good people in there. No one's going to harass you or anything. It's a really good group of people in there right now. So if you want to just come hang out in Discord, feel free to do so. You get access to my projections, which I feel have been pretty good so far this season. A couple of takedowns, core plays, my weekly article, working on that right now. My own personal tier rankings, based on price. And GBP exposure, so you know exactly where my money's going. And then my power rankings, which is just statistic based. So if you guys are interested, hit the link in the description below if you want to support me over on Patreon. But without further ado, let's get into the preview of this race. And also, I always forget to say this, so this is where let me just say it now. The live stream, I think it's going to be on Wednesday, probably around 2 p.m., maybe 3. I'll probably put a poll up so you guys can vote at what time, but I feel like it's going to be around 2 p.m. Eastern because that gives everyone enough time to watch it after it's posted on replay if people aren't able to watch it if they're at work or something, because I realize it's a weekday in the middle of the day. So I know a lot of you might just be at work and might not be able to tune in. So if you guys want to watch it on replay, it should be up in time for you to do that. But anyway, preview of this race. This is the Blu-Emu Maximum Pain Relief 500. And you guys don't even want to know how many times it took me to say that correctly. I tried to probably do that like 10 or so times just to get that right. So there was a lot of versions of this intro that I recorded. But finally, I think we're on the right track for this one. But anyway, this is Martinsville Speedway. It's a short, flat track, also known as the paperclip because it looks like a paperclip. And it's a half-mile in length, 0.526, but it's a half mile in length. There's going to be 500 laps, 500, and that means there's going to be 375 Dominator points, just like Bristol. So we're going to definitely want an emphasis on Dominators, because if you do not have a Dominator in your lineup at Martinsville, your lineup's screwed. I do not care how good your place differential plays were. If you didn't have a Dominator in your lineup, you're pretty much going to be drawing dead, because there's a lot of Dominator points to go around, and there's a lot of good plays at fair prices this week. So definitely wanting to stack up on these Dominators as much as you can. Now, I did put some quick notes here because there's a couple of interesting things I thought heading into this race that I should mention that I didn't want to forget. So first note, this is the 2018 Martinsville package that they are running. Last year, it was pretty much follow the leader. We had Martin Truex Jr. lead, 464 laps starting third, which is insane. It was pretty much just follow the leader whenever he got the lead. And then in the spring race, Brad Keselowski led 446 laps, and he was also starting third, oddly enough. So it was follow the leader whenever he got up front. So they're running the 2018 package. So I would not expect this to be a follow the leader again type race where we see someone lead nearly 500 laps. Now, is it fun when a guy leads nearly 500 laps and you have him? Yes. But if you happen to miss that guy, you're pretty much completely dead. You pretty much had to have him to, absolutely win a tournament, obviously, because they scored over 200 points. But Yeah, they're running the 2018 package, and if you looked at those races, the Dominator points were a little bit more spread out. We're going to want, anywhere from 2 to 4 Dominators per lineup. And they're also running a new tire code this week, which is going to have increased grip and tire wear, so that'll be also interesting. And Austin Dillon, this is the wild card. Austin Dillon is on baby watch with AJ Allmendinger on standby to fill in for him if his wife has the kid. So keep an eye out for that. I would have more information available on my Twitter or probably on the live stream if we have more news coming up on that, if it becomes a serious situation where it looks like he might actually miss the race. So just keep an eye out for that. But that's pretty much going to be it for the preview. Just know that Dominators are very important this week with nearly 400 Dominator points available. So let's just go into the driver-by-driver breakdown, which I know is everyone's favorite. All right, so I should probably start this off with saying the pricing once again is insane. DraftKings I know they price based off of where these guys are starting, but they do a real bad job at it too. I mean, they underprice the guys that are good and starting up front, and then they way overprice the guys that are starting near the back, which, look, Jimmy Johnson, he's good at Martinsville, more so in the past, more so than recently, but he's starting 21st, which gives you place differential upside, but he's 12,500. He's not more than likely, I mean, there's a chance, but more than likely he's not going to dominate this race, and he's priced like 4,000 more than Ryan Blaney, who's on the pole. Like, we have some ridiculous pricing. We got Keselowski at 95. Truex at 10.3 is respectable, but it still feels a little bit too low. Boyer at 8,600. And then you got Bubba Wallace still at near 8K, which I don't know why. But yeah, the pricing, again, you can do whatever you want. There's guys that are in the 5K range that are too cheap. There's guys in the 6K range that are too cheap. Guys in the 7K range look decent, but Suarez and Bubba are way overpriced. And then the 8K is loaded with some good plays. And then I think it's going to be a fun week to build lineups because you can do whatever you want. I was just playing around building lineups, and you can easily fit in a Busch, Truex, Keselowski, whatever lineup. It's not hard at all. So do whatever you want with your lineups. There's not going to be much restrictions because the cheap guys are in good spots and they're underpriced. So I'm looking forward to it. I would assume this is going to be a pretty chalky week. Not sure if it's going to be as bad as last week because I feel like you can spread out the dominators a little bit, maybe outside of Ryan Blaney. And I think Blaney can honestly be the highest owned driver on the slate at that price tag and where he's starting, and he's good here. But after that, I mean, all these dominators make sense. So you're going to hear me say this a lot, but I like almost every guy that's above Ryan Blaney, almost, besides Jimmy Johnson, because they're all in good spots. And Jimmy Johnson's not a bad play. He's starting 21st. He can move up, but let's just get into him before I start talking about the entire slate when I'm trying to go driver by driver. So Jimmy Johnson, he is 12,500 starting 21st. He's way overpriced. Wasn't he like 12,500 or something like that when he was starting 40th? I forget what race it was. It was either the second Darlington race. I think it was the second Darlington race, or I don't remember. Maybe it was one of the Charlotte races. But either way, I didn't even play him when he was starting 40th and he was 12,000, something, whatever. Now he's starting 21st. I'm probably going to pass. Now, could he get up front lead laps? Sure. If he ends up getting up front at some point, leading 100 laps, yes, he could make the optimal because you're getting like 20-some place differential spots as long as he contends for the win. But I just don't see that happening. It's going to take him a while to get up front. And there's so many better cars that are in front of him at better price points. So I have not read my projections yet. As I always say, this is just my first run through on this entire slate, and then I do my polished thoughts on Patreon. And just my first initial thought when I saw Jimmy Johnson's price was no thank you. I just don't see myself having much Jimmy Johnson, if any at all. Recently, this has not been too great of a track for him. Now, he has been good here over the course of his career, but just recently he's averaging 31 DraftKings points per race, an average running position at 15.1, no top 5s, 0 top 10s. Only 2 top 15s and 4 top 20s, which at this price tag, I need the guy to get up front, lead 100-some laps. I mean, I just don't see that happening. So I feel like I can safely fade Jimmy Johnson. And for the track type form, there's really no track that compares to Martinsville. You can look at other flat tracks like Richmond, Indy, Pocono, whatever, but those don't really replicate Martinsville. Like Bristol, you can look at other steep tracks, but it doesn't really give you the same. It's not really the same type of track. They're unique. Martinsville's unique, and Bristol's unique, and there's some other tracks that are unique. So I just went back the past 10 races for the track type form because you really can't compare Martinsville to another track. And just looking at the past 10 races for Jimmie Johnson, he's got an average running position of 14.6 at Martinsville, only one win, which I shouldn't say only, getting one win at least in the past 10 races is still pretty good. So he has one win, but only one top 5, only 2 top 10s, 5 top 15s, hasn't really been leading laps here. So Jimmie Johnson, I feel like he's a pretty strong fade. I don't really see him being popular. He wasn't even that popular when he was starting 40th. And with such a big emphasis on dominators in Martinsville, I don't think he's going to be that high owned, and I really don't like getting any ownership on him at all. So don't think I'm going to have much Jimmie Johnson, if any at all. I think he's a pretty strong fade candidate. Denny Hamlin, he comes in at 11,900. He's starting 12th. Now, he's very expensive, but the guy is really good at flat tracks. Now, I know I said I really can't compare other flat tracks to Martinsville, but he's also really good at Martinsville, so that helps too. He's averaging 55.2 DraftKings points per race here over the past 6 races. He's got an average running position of 7.6, which is one of the best on the board. Average driver rating of 103.2, 3 top 5s, 4 top 10s. He knows how to lead laps here. If you're looking at the average laps led and average fast laps, he's dominated here before. Obviously, he's won. Past 10 races, he has 6 top 5s, which is a 60% success rate, getting inside the top 5. And he's starting 12th, so he offers us some PD upside. So I think Denny Hamlin's a strong play. The only thing I don't like is the price tag. So if I'm playing GPPs, yeah, I'm going to want some Denny Hamlin exposure because, look, there's some weeks where I feel like I'll just fade a couple of high price guys because I'm willing to take the risk. If I miss out on a main dominator at Martinsville, I'm going to be kicking myself. So I think this is a really good week to spread out your exposure on all of these guys. Like, look, Truex is in a good spot, Busch is in a good spot, Harvick's in a good spot, Elliott's in a good spot, Hamlin's in a good spot. So if I miss one of these guys and they end up dominating, I'm going to be very upset about myself. And I really don't have a strong lean on really most of these guys. I mean, I have a stronger lean on some of the guys that are cheaper, but I mean, I feel like it's a good week to spread out your exposure and then just hope they all have good races and then a couple of them really hit. So Hamlin, definitely the guy I want some exposure to. The price tag will probably keep me lower on him just in general, and probably the field will be lower on him just because of the price tag. But again, pricing is soft, so it's not that hard to fit him in if you want to make him the main focus point of your lineup. Not my favorite play just because of the price tag, but I do like Denny Hamlin, so definitely someone I will want to get exposure to. Same goes for Chase Elliott. He's in a similar spot here. He's 11,500. He is starting 11th. Pretty disappointing if we played Chase Elliott at Atlanta on Sunday. He started on the pole. He led 25 laps. Pit crew kind of screwed him there, and he never got the lead back. So he was nearly 10K, and he only led 25 laps, and then he lost the place differential spot. So it did not work out for Chase Elliott. I actually had like 88% Chase Elliott, and fortunately one of my lineups did amazing. It finished second, so I made decent profit on the day because of that lineup. But man, having 88% Chase Elliott really was not fun after he lost the lead. I was really hoping he could lead at least 70 some laps. Wasn't the case, but he's had a fast car all season. He's still first in average green flag speed, so I expect him to have a fast car, and he's been pretty good at Martinsville. If you're going to look at his average finish, it is 14. But he did have an incident one race, so that will kill his average finish a little bit. But overall, his average running position is 10.5. Good driver rating, 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s. He knows how to lead laps here. He's led over 100 laps here in a race, I think multiple times, at least once. I was looking over the numbers. I don't remember exactly, but he's had some dominator performance here, which is exactly what we need. He also gets some place differential upside starting 11th. So I think Chase Elliott is a strong play. Now, again, I will be lower on him just in general because of the price tag. I'm going to be higher on the guys like Blaney, Boyer, Keselowski just because of their price ranges, because it makes them much easier to fit in. But I definitely want exposure to Chase Elliott, not someone you want to cross off your list by any means. He's been very good at Martinsville. He knows how to get up front and lead laps. And if we look at his numbers this season, which I don't really think Martinsville is a great track to look at momentum just because it plays so much different. And they're also using that 2018 Martinsville package, but just overall this season, I want to talk about it. He's just been super good. He's pretty much behind Kevin Harvick in overall performance, but he has had the fastest car. Well, you can also put Keselowski in there as well, but Chase Elliott, Kevin Harvick, and Keselowski have been like the 3 big cars so far this season. Logano and Truex are I shouldn't say starting to come along. Logano was early on in the season. Truex had a really good race at Atlanta, and he's been having a fast car recently. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. Chase Elliott, he's got an average running position of 7.2 this season. Second best driver rating of 110.9, has a win, 4 top 5s, 6 top 10s. He's been leading a ton of laps. I think the second most laps led per race. So, yeah, I think Chase Elliott is a very strong play. Again, the price tag will keep me lower on him in general, just because it's going to be harder to fit him in. But the pricing is soft, so you can fit him in lineups that you want to. And definitely not someone I would want to fade. He's had a strong car. He's been good at Martinsville, so do like Elliott. Look, if you're playing these high price guys, you're better off mixing them in with guys like Blaney, Boyer, and Keselowski just to even out your lineup a little bit. But again, I feel like you can still probably play an Elliott Hamlin lineup and get away with that just because of how soft pricing is. But it might make it a little bit top heavy. But again, we'll get into the cheap guys, so shouldn't be too bad. But Kevin Harvick, he is starting 10th. He's 11,200. Now, I do like him, but the problem is the past 6 races here, he has not led a lap, which does concern me because we're at Martinsville and we need laps to be led, and he's also 11,200. But he has been good here. It's not like he's been bad. He just hasn't been dominating. He's got 4 top 10s the past 6 races, 2 top 5s, the drive rating of 92.5, average running position of 10.5, good average finish of 8.8. But I feel like I might be a little lower on him, but I do like how great he's been this season. And it's not like he's been bad at Martinsville. I mean, just over the past 10 races, he doesn't have a win, though, and only 2 top 5s, which, like, Denny Hamlin's got 6. So overall, I feel like I'd be heavier on Hamlin just because of his recent track history the past 10 races and just how good Denny Hamlin is at flat tracks. But I like all 3 of these guys, and they're all starting right next to each other. So I feel like I might be splitting my exposure up. I might go a little bit heavier on a guy like Elliott and Hamlin. But again, price factors into that too as well, because Denny Hamlin's really expensive. So we'll see. I'm not totally sure. Again, this is just my first rundown through the entire slate. So we're going through it together, just getting my first thoughts out there. So I think Harvick's an interesting case. I don't like that he hasn't really been much of a dominator here, but if you go over the past 10 races, he has been leading some laps, getting those fast laps, getting those laps led. Certainly hasn't been the dominator that Truex, Kyle Busch, Logano, and Keselowski has been, and kind of want him to at that price tag. So he doesn't have the easiest path to dominating either, starting 10th, but he's had a fast car all season. We know that. He's been great. I mean, he's averaging nearly 75 Draftkings points per race, which is far and above everyone else. Best average finish. Best running position of 6.6, 2 wins, 7 top 10s, averaging the most laps led per race. So, yeah, Kevin Harvick can certainly get up front. Again, if one of these guys ends up leading like 200 laps, you're going to want them in your lineup. So I feel like I'm going to spread out my exposure to them. It won't be as high on them as the cheaper guys, but I still think they're all solid plays. And again, I told you guys you're going to hear me say that a lot, that they're all pretty much good plays, and they are. I can't get around that. They're all good plays. Kyle Busch, he comes in at 10,700. He's probably my favorite guy we've talked about yet in this tier because I feel like he should be the guy that's around 12,500 because he's really good at Martinsville. And we're getting him at a decent price tag. And we also get a little bit of PD upside as well, starting in 7th. So Kyle Busch, very good here, like I was saying. He's averaging nearly 100 DraftKings points per race at 96.3. Average finish of 4.3, which is second best behind Brad Keselowski. He's got the best average running position of 4.5. The second best drive rating, 120.2. Does have a win, 5 top 5s the past 6 races, averaging 97 laps led per race, 54.7 fast laps. This has been a very, very, very good track for Kyle Busch. He was also really fast yesterday, which I know doesn't mean much because this is a much different track than Atlanta, but he was also really fast, so it was nice to see him getting some speed, but he just couldn't get it going on the restarts. He was out front on multiple restarts and just ended up getting passed multiple times by Truex and Kevin Harvick. But this is a really good track for Busch. We're getting him at a nice discount. If you go back the past 10 races at Martinsville, the numbers even look even better. He's got 8 top 5s, 2 wins, 121.7 drive rating, average running position of 4.6, still over, or not over, but still around 100 DraftKings points per race, averaging the most DraftKings points per race. So I think Kyle Busch is a very strong play. You can get him at a discount too. I think he should probably be closer to around 12,000. It would not surprise me if Kyle Busch ends up, coming out and leading over 100, 200 laps. It would not. Is it the most likely scenario that he leads 200 laps? No, but I'm certainly a candidate to get up front, and I like the price tag we're getting him at too. So, yeah, Kyle Busch, definitely one of my more favorite plays on the slate just because of that price tag. I feel like we're getting him at a discount. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about him. So anyway, let's go down to Martin Truex Jr. He comes in at 10,300. He's starting 5th. And again, out of this 10K and up tier, Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr. are my favorite plays, and they also just happen to be the cheapest in this tier, so, go figure. So, yeah, and you can easily fit them in the same lineup, too. I was playing around with some lineups, and it's pretty easy to get them in just because of the soft pricing. But Martin Truex Jr., last race at Martinsville that we had for just in the NASCAR series, he's the guy that led 464 laps. He was starting 3rd, and he dominated the day. it was the Truex show. And if we're looking at his numbers overall, he's averaging 87 DraftKings points per race, average finish of 5.7. Again, these numbers are going to be a little bit inflated because of the last race that happened, but he's still been very good here overall. Average driver rating of 111.2, just have a win, 4 top 5s, 5 top 10s, averaging a whole bunch of laps led, obviously, from the last race, but he's still been good here overall, just besides that last race. If you're looking at the past 10 races, he's got 8 top 10s, 4 top 5s, 1 win, leading a large chunk of laps. So I think Truex is a very strong play. I like the price tag. He can certainly get up front and lead laps. So Truex and Kyle Busch, my favorite in that 10K tier, and they're also the cheapest. So that's nice as well. I think you can play them both in cash. I was thinking about like cash and GPP builds, and I feel like it might be a tougher week for cash because there's just so many good dominator plays, and I don't want to miss out on any of them. So it's tough. I feel like the cheaper guys will definitely be the way we want to go to cash, which we'll get to them in a little bit. But from that 10K and up tier, really like Kyle Busch and Martin Truex. So let's go to Joey Logano. He comes in at 9,900. He is starting third, and I'm not saying it's a thing, but past 2 races, the guy that has started third has led over 400 laps. Not saying it's like a given, but it was just a little funny thing I put on Twitter that I thought was a little bit interesting, not factoring that in any sort of capacity here, but he is in the lucky 3 spot apparently, but he's been good here, averaging 60 DraftKings points per race, which is the third most we've talked about so far, only behind Kyle Busch and Martin Truex. Now the guy below him has him beat by a lot, but still, he's been pretty good here. Average rank position of 7.1, does have a win, 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s, averaging a good amount of laps led per race, and fast laps as well. And if you're looking at the past 10 races, the numbers are solid too, so I'm not going to just keep repeating it. You guys get it. Joey Logano is good here. He's been having a good season so far. He has 2 wins, average running position of 8.2. All the numbers check out for Joey Logano. The only thing I don't like about Logano here is that he's got Blaney in front of him, which is his teammate, so I'm hoping they'll play nice and just let Blaney lead the laps early on, which would be nice. So, and then I like Keselowski better, I like Truex better, and I like Kyle Busch better. So he's in a tough spot. He's starting third, so there's not much room for PD upside either, but he's definitely someone I'm going to want exposure to. And like I said, I'm going to want to spread out my exposure quite a bit this week. I don't think I'm going to have that tight of a core up top, because I like all these guys. They can all get up front lead laps. There's 500 laps to go around, so I'm going to want to spread out my exposure. Logano's not one of my favorite guys, but I also like his price a lot at 9,900. He's at a fast car this season. He's in the top 5 on average green flag speed. So Logano, I do like him. Not totally sure I'm going to have him on ownership-wise, just because, I don't know, he's in a weird spot, but just because he's sandwiched in between Truex, Kyle Busch, and Keselowski. So we'll see, but I definitely want exposure to him because I do like his price tag, and he has been very strong at Martinsville. But one of my favorite plays on the entire slate, and I feel like he's going to be one of the highest owned plays. It wouldn't surprise me if he is the second highest owned dominator right behind Ryan Blaney, his teammate. And really, if you want to stack Penske this week, feel free to do so. I think we did that at Bristol too. Logano, Keselowski, Ryan Blaney. Yeah, we did the Penske stack at Bristol. We could do it again in another short track at Martinsville. They're all in good spots. They're all starting near the front, and they are all pretty good here at Martinsville. So if you want to go Penske stacking, I wouldn't fault you for that. But anyway, let's talk about Keselowski, one of my favorite plays on the slate. He's 9,500. He is severely underpriced. He just keeps having good race after good race. Now, Atlanta wasn't the prettiest finish, but you could also still finish second place with Keselowski in your lineup. I did that. And I think he would have had a much better day if he didn't have that speeding penalty. He had a speeding penalty, got down to 28th place, was a lap down, still had a really strong race, was picking up some fast laps, looking like he was going to get a top 5 until he had a rough pit stop at the very end, which kind of screwed him a little bit. But Keselowski, he's just been so good at Martinsville. I know he had that 400 whatever lap led race last year in the spring, but he's also had other strong races too. It wasn't just that one race. This has been a very good track for Brett Keselowski. He's averaging 101.4 DraftKings points per race, which is more than anybody here. Average finish of 4, which is best of anyone here. Average rank position of 5.4, which is second best. 120.5 drive rating, which is the best. 2 wins, which is the best. 5 top 5s, which is tied for the best with Kyle Busch. 5 top 10s. I mean, there's nothing bad I can say about Brett Keselowski here. He's averaging 118.7 laps led per race. He's getting the fast laps. If you look at the past 10 races, he's got 8 top 5s and 2 wins. I mean, him and Kyle Busch, they've just been so dominant at Martinsville. So if you want to stack those two guys together in a lineup, feel free to do so. If you're just looking at recent track history, they've just been so good here. And so far this season, Brett Keselowski's had one of the best cars. He is second in average green flag speed this season. Or he might be third. He's either second or third, but he's had a fast car this year. And at Bristol, another short track, which I know doesn't really compare to Martinsville much, but he won that race and he had a very dominant race. So maybe he got a little lucky at the end because of the Elliott and Logano wreck, but hey, it's better to be lucky than good. Brad Keselowski, one of my favorite plays in the slate. He should be closer. He should probably be around 11K if we're being honest. So Keselowski, one of my favorite options. If you want to play him in cash, I think that's totally fine. He's severely underpriced. It's a really good track for him. So definitely like Keselowski, and I really like Team Penske this week. Kurt Busch, 9,200. So I feel like he might be the one guy I'm a little bit lower on just because he's not as good at Martinsville as other guys in this price range or the guys below him. So if you're looking at recent history here, he's got an average finish of 15.7, only averaging 30 DraftKings points per race, average winning position of 13.6, no wins, no top 5s, only 2 top 10s, 4 top 15s. Look, starting 9th at 9,200, I want him to dominate because there's guys that are priced below him that can dominate, and there's guys priced a little bit ahead of him that I think are way more likely to dominate. So Kurt Busch, really don't see myself having much, if any. Now, he has had a fast car this season. He was 6th in green flag speed before the Bristol race where Stenhouse took the back half of his car out and kind of killed his speed for the day, but Kurt's been chugging along the season. He keeps getting good finish after good finish, so he's been very consistent, but at 9,200, I need a guy that can get up front, especially at Martinsville. So Kurt Busch, I feel like I'm not going to really be that high on him. I mean, again, he's had a really good season. He has 7 top 10s, 3 top 5s this year, but not really that interested in Kurt Busch this week at Martinsville. Let me just make sure my camera's not fuzzy. Okay, so now, man, we're at 30 minutes. I'm still at the 9,200 guy. This might be an hour video, guys. I apologize, but sorry. Anyway, let's get into this 8K tier. We have Alex Bowman at 8,900, and I said he was one of my favorite tournament plays. Not play him in cash at Atlanta, so hopefully do not play him in cash because Alex Bowman did not have a great day. He had an okay finish at the end, but we wanted him to dominate. He did not dominate. He actually ended up getting up to 6th at one point, and it was looking like his car was looking pretty good. And then just didn't really do well. It was kind of a mid-pack car. Not mid-pack, but a little bit better than mid-pack. But Alex Bowman, not really the best at Martinsville. He's got an average finish of 17, running position of 17.5. Drive rating's pretty low at 71.1, which is by far the lowest we've talked about yet. I mean, the lowest before that was Johnson at 78, and then Harvick at 92. And he has 1 top 10, 2 top 15s, hasn't let a lap here. I mean, obviously he's got a couple of fast laps because there's 500 laps. Everyone's going to pick up a couple of fast laps, but I'm not too interested in Bowman. If you're looking at the past 6 races for him, the numbers are even worse. Average running position of 22.5, drive rating of 62.1. Bowman's not really on my radar. I know he's had a great car all season long, but not too interested in Bowman. There's 2 guys right below him that I like a lot more. And we'll start off with Clint Boyer. He comes into 8,600, starting 4th. And look, he was going to make the optimal lineup if he did not have to pit at the end there because of the tire issues he was having at Atlanta, but he looked pretty darn good. He was top 5 in average green flag speed, got up front, kept it, held off Martin Truex, which surprised me. I thought Truex was going to take that lead from him easy. Didn't happen, and this is a pretty good track for Boyer. He actually has one here, too. He's got an average running position of 9.6, averaging 50 DraftKings points per race. Has a win, like I said, 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s, averaging 36 laps led per race, 25.3 fast laps. I know Boyer can be pretty hit or miss, but I like him a lot here, and this price tag is just insanely low for a guy that has potential to dominate. Like I said, 4 Dominator builds is not that hard this week. You can play Clint Boyer, Ryan Blaney together, and then you can pair it with someone like Kyle Busch and Martin Truex or Keselowski if you want. It's not that hard. So, yeah, I think Clint Boyer is a very strong play. I expect him to be pretty popular. Look, even if he doesn't dominate, he's going to pick up some fast laps. I think he's going to contend for a top 5 here, and at 8,600, that might just be enough. So, I like Clint Boyer a lot. Definitely one of my more favorite plays on the slate at that price tag. But I like the guy that's priced right below him a lot more, which I still like them both a lot. But Ryan Blaney is going to be one of the best plays on the slate, and I expect him to be one of the more popular plays on the slate. I shouldn't say more popular, probably the most popular play on the slate. Chase Elliott was 9,900 starting on the pool at Atlanta for a 325 lap race, and he was over 50% owned in the large, was the $12 150 max tournament. So with Ryan Blaney at 8,400 at a track he's good at, starting in the pool, he might be close to 60% owned in the big tournament. Like, we might see one of the highest ownerships ever in a large field tournament that I can remember, because this is just a simple mispricing. Ryan Blaney was one of the guys Draftkings keeps underpricing for like the past 5 weeks, and I don't get it because he keeps having good race after good race. He has like 3 top 5s the past, I don't know, was it like 4 races? He's just been so good. He's 5th in average green flag speed this season, and I don't get why he's priced this low. I mean, honestly, he should probably be above 10K. Like, if he can lead a quick 100-some laps, I don't see how he doesn't make the optimal, because he's probably going to contend for a top 5, top 10 at the very least. And if you get 100 laps led and throw in a bunch of fast laps too, I mean, I don't know how you don't make the optimal at that price, like at 8,400. Like, if he was starting 5th at 8,400, I'd still have a lot of interest. Now he's on the pole. Yeah, of course. And I know the posts that are the past 2 races haven't really worked out at all. But again, it's a different package this year. And also in that 2018 package that they're running, Ryan Blaney did lead 145 laps in one of those races. So I think Ryan Blaney's an excellent, excellent play. I mean, it would not surprise me if he's my highest owned driver. I know the Chase Elliott experiment didn't work out in the pool last week, but if you're going to give me a guy at mid 8K that's got top 5 upside and is really good here and has had one of the fastest cars all season and starting on the pool at 8,400, yeah, I'm going to be very interested. His average running position here is 8.3, which is very, very good. He has 3 top 5s the past 6 races. So 50% of the time, the past 6 races, he's been inside the top 5. And look, if he just gets the top 5 at that price tag, I mean, you're going to throw in some fast laps too. We'll take it. But now he's on the pole, so we're pretty much almost guaranteed he's going to lead a good chunk of laps. He's got 4 top 10s. He's obviously led laps here before, like I said. So Ryan Blaney, yeah, he's going to be one of the best plays in the entire slate. If you're playing one lineup, I would play Ryan Blaney. I don't see how you're going to get out of there. I mean, if you want to fade him in tournaments and hope he doesn't lead a lap and just fades and wrecks, yeah, that can work out. But like, anything can happen. But I think just probability-wise, Ryan Blaney will more than likely end up in the optimal lineup. He's actually ended up in the optimal lineup quite a few times over the past few races, if you're looking at that, which I do have on my spreadsheet. So yeah, Blaney's obviously one of the best plays in the entire slate. And I just can't believe the pricing. I was joking around saying, I guess DraftKings I was telling some friends in the group chat that I bet Ryan Blaney's underpriced again on the poll, and there you go, 8,400. So, all right, anyway, moving down, we have Christopher Bell at 8,200, starting 32nd. I like him. I think he can definitely contend for a top 15. He was looking really good at Atlanta before he got into Eric Jones, which I'm sure we were all mad about. So Eric Jones at one point was in the top 8, I think, and then Christopher Bell was in the top 12. And then one of the restarts, I think at the end of stage 2, Christopher Bell, they went 4 wide. I think it was Matt Kenseth, Christopher Bell, Eric Jones, and I forget who was on the bottom, but they went 4 wide, which is not really smart to do at Atlanta. And then Christopher Bell ended up getting into Eric Jones, cutting his tire. So then it killed Eric Jones' day, which I know we all had a ton of Eric Jones, so that sucked because he was smashing at that price tag. And then Christopher Bell, at one point, I think had like a 25-second pit stop, which killed that. So they kind of just killed each other there. They were both having really strong races. But now he's 8,200, which he was 7,400 last race, starting 27th. So it makes sense that I got a price bump at 8,200. So is this too expensive for Christopher Bell? I don't think it is, because I feel like it's maybe a little bit expensive, but I think it's fair because he has top 15 upside. I don't know right off the top of my head what a top 15 would net him points-wise, but he's got the upside for it. And we're probably going to get some fast laps thrown in there. So I think Christopher Bell's fine starting 30 seconds. He's obviously a really safe play for place differential spots. But again, I prefer the Dominator. So if it was between like a Ryan Blaney or Christopher Bell, I'm taking Ryan Blaney every day because Christopher Bell does not have that Dominator upside, nor do I think he can finish inside the top 10. And also I'd take Clint Boyer over Christopher Bell because I think Clint Boyer definitely has the higher upside because he can get up front lead laps and Christopher Bell can't. So I'd prefer those two, but Christopher Bell's fine for place differential. If you're looking at his stats so far this season, he's got an average, lost my spot. So he's got an average finish of 20.9, average running position of 20.2. And I feel like, he had a top 15 car in Atlanta. Now I know you can't really use that for Martinsville, but he's got top 15 upside, so I think he's fine. I don't love the price tag, but he's okay. Matt Kenseth, he's starting 20th. He's 8K. So if you're looking at his numbers, again, you kind of got to throw him out the window because he retired. He's in new equipment. I say that every single race. But if you're looking at his past 6 races at Martinsville, I guess past 3, he's got an average finish of 13.7, average running position of 14.3, 2 top 10s. Look, I'd rather play Christopher Bell for 200 more. I don't think Matt Kenseth's going to get up front and dominate. So just give me the extra $200 with Bell, and I get way more PD upside because it would not surprise me if Kenseth finishes around 20th, which it would surprise me if Christopher Bell doesn't finish inside the top 25, which I'd hope so if he's 8,200, but he should finish inside the top 20 if everything goes well. So not really too interested in Kenseth. I mean, this season, he's got an average running position of 19.3, average finish of 20.2, like right where he's starting. So I don't think there's a lot of upside for him at Kenseth. Going down to the 7K tier, we have Bubba Wallace at 7,800, and he just continues to be overpriced. Like, I'd get it if he was starting in the 30s, but 23rd and Bubba Wallace is 7,800. He's probably going to finish right around where he starts if he's lucky. He's got an average running position of 25.6 here, average finish of 24.5, one top 15, two top 20s, but I'd need Bubba Wallace to finish inside the top 15, contend for a top 10 really at this price tag, so I'm not that interested in Bubba Wallace at all. I don't think I'll even have any. Could he sneak inside the top 15? Sure. He's been actually running really well this season. He's getting a little bit unlucky, but I don't really like Bubba Wallace too much. If we look at the season stats, he's got an average running position of 22.6, so I'm not too interested in Bubba Wallace. His price needs to come down for me to have some interest. William Byron, 7,600. He's starting 15th, and if you played Byron yesterday, if you had a lot of Byron, which I did have a lot of Byron, thankfully I didn't have too much, but I had a good chunk, close to 30%, not quite, but close to it. Like very early on in the race, he hit the wall, and then he 6 laps down, and his race was done. So it screwed his day, but it's a new day, 7,600 starting 15th. I like the price tag. This hasn't been his greatest track, but in that fall race last year when Truex dominated, William Byron almost won the race. He was right there with Truex at one point at the very end. So he had a really strong running last year, which does give me some confidence. He did get that top 5. But overall, it hasn't been the greatest track. Now, we did get into an incident, one of the races, I believe, when he finished near dead last. So that's going to kill your stats a little bit. But just overall, average finish of 20.8 here. Average running position 19.5. Did have the top 5, like I said. But just overall, I'm not too thrilled about playing William Byron. You can and hope he stays inside the top 15, but I do think there's better plays in the slate. So I might sprinkle in Byron and hope for another running like he did that one race, but overall not crazy about it, but he's fine. I got nothing against him. And this season he's been really good. I mean, just overall he's shown a ton of speed. Now, the average running position, average finish kind of got killed from the last race, and don't forget he wrecked the one race as well. So those are going to be killed a little bit, but he's been right up there speed-wise. You know how fast Chevys have been and Hendrick Motorsports has been this season. So Byron's okay. Not excited. He's not going to stand out starting 15th. Tyler Reddick, he's 7,400, and he looked like one of the best plays in the slate at Atlanta, or I should say on Sunday, same thing, early on, because he was near the top 5 at one point. He even put a move on Chase Elliott and passed him at one point, too. He was looking really, really good. And then I believe at one of the end of the stages, he had a wheel coming loose, and then after that, I don't know, speed kind of got zapped away or whatever. He still finished 16th, I think, but he was having a 50-point plus day early on. His car looked really good, and he's been fast all season, so it didn't surprise me whatsoever. He's had a really good car, and he's been driving really, really well. Obviously, no Cup stats at Martinsville yet, but just going off this season's stats, I mean, Reddick's been great. Average rank position of 16.4, average finish of 17.4, 2 top 10s, 5 top 15s, 7 top 20s. Problem is, he is starting 14th, so his upside is very limited. And I don't know, would I rather play Byron or would I rather play Reddick? It's a tough decision. I feel like people will probably have that question. I'm not totally sure where I'll go yet. Maybe William Byron because he's got more experience in the Cup Series at Martinsville, so that can give him the edge, and he also had that really strong running last time, so it's tough, but I love the speed Reddick show. It wouldn't surprise me if he picks up a good chunk of fast laps, so they're fine. I just don't really like their starting spots too much, but Reddick has been fast all season long. I think my voice just cracked. Maybe I should get some water really quick. Alright, sorry, I'm back. I had to get my dog too, so I know it wasn't a delay for you guys, but it was a delay for me. But anyway, we ended on Tyler Reddick, so now we're talking about Daniel Suarez, who comes in at 7,100. 7,100 for Daniel Suarez. So he's starting 37th, obviously, because, non-charter teams, so they're obviously going to get started in the back because they don't get to be part of the random draw. And so, obviously, he's got PD upside, but at 7,100 for Daniel Suarez, no thank you. I can't imagine I'm going to have any Daniel Suarez. Maybe 1 or 2 in 150 max, but I don't want to pay 7,100 for a guy who we're happy about if he finishes 30th. He's in a junk car. I mean, if you're looking at his recent track history here, Even in Stuart Hospital, it wasn't all that impressive. Average running position of 18.3, average driver rating of 70.9. Now you're putting him in the lawnmower. I mean, the upside's very, very limited. So I don't really want to play Daniel Suarez. If you're looking at his numbers this season, he's got an average running position of 28.2, one top 20. It's been really bad for Suarez. 44.3 driver rating. There's guys that are much cheaper than Daniel Suarez that I like a lot better. So if you want to fade Suarez in his lawnmower, feel free to do so. I do not blame you at all. I mean, the starting spot's great, but he's not a 7,100 kind of guy at all. Like MDB, he should not be cheaper than Suarez. Newman shouldn't be cheaper. Jones shouldn't be like 600 cheaper. That's just a joke. Almirola, Dylan. I mean, these guys. I mean, Suarez should be in that 5-some K tier. So anyway, MDB. I mean, look, he's in new equipment now, so you almost have to throw a little bit of out the window. Not completely, but it's not been his strongest track so far the past 6 races. He's got an average of 9.8 DraftKings points per race, average finish of nearly 30, average running position of 26.1, 49.8 driver rating, which is just dreadful. If you're looking at the past 10 races, it really kind of gets worse. This season, he's had a fast car. In Atlanta, he was looking like he was going to be close to a top 10. I think he was running 11th, but then the tire was going down, so he had to pit at the end. Kind of like Ryan Blaney did the one race at Fontana. He wasn't obviously doing as good as Ryan Blaney, but yeah, it sucked for MDB, but he's in that 21 car, Wood Brothers Racing, obviously much better equipment. Starting 19th, I know his numbers at Martinsville have been awful, but the new equipment this season, he's got an average finish of 15.6, running position of 14.6, 7 top 20s, 5 top 15s, has a top 5, 2 top 10s. I think he's fine. I like the price tag. He seems a little bit underpriced. I know the history hasn't been great here, but I feel like that'll probably keep his ownership down because it seems like the guys with a good track history, their ownership gets bumped to the absolute moon now. So I don't know if MDB is going to be that low though, because people love to play MDB. He always seems to have ownership, but I think he's fine. Probably not a cash game guy, but I like the price tag on him. Ryan Newman, he comes in at 6,800. He's starting 16th, and the problem with this is I feel like he's going to finish right around there, but I do like the price tag, and he does have a pretty solid history here at Martinsville. He's got an average finish of 13.7, which would be 3 spots higher than where he's starting, which isn't too bad at this price tag. Average running position of 15.8, 2 top 10s, 4 top 15s, 5 top 20s. It's really not that bad. It's been a very good track for him. He's averaging 5.3 place differential spots per race. If we look at the past 10 races here at Martinsville, he's got 6 top 15s, 3 top 10s, 8 top 20s, average finish of 14.2. If you want to throw in some Ryan Newman, I don't hate it. His upside's limited, starting 16th, but at 6,800, if you can get a top 15, definitely won't kill you at all. So I think Newman's fine. Not a favorite play by any means, but I do think he's a solid option down there. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., he comes in at 6,700. He made the optimal again on Sunday. He's shown some decent speed so far the past few weeks. I don't know where it came from, but he's been looking pretty fast. But I just hate trusting Stenhouse. But it's a decent price tag for him, and I do like the speed. Sorry, I got a text from my mom. All right, anyway. I do like the speed he has been showing, so there is potential here. I feel like I prefer Newman, but I don't know. That speed from Stenhouse has been nice. That might give him a little bit of an ownership bump, which if Stenhouse is going to have any kind of ownership, that does scare me. When Stenhouse is low owned, he's always a nice tournament play, but if Stenhouse is going to be chalky, that just scares me. So I don't think he's going to be chalky. I mean, it's much better plays that are priced below him, but he's interesting in tournaments just because of the speed he's been showing. He does have 2 top 15s here the past 6 races and 4 top 20s, so if he can hang around where he starts, maybe even improve on a couple of spots, he'd be fine. Eric Jones, I already talked about him earlier, so I'm not going to say it again, but he really screwed our lineups there. Well, I guess he didn't really screw it. I guess it's more so Christopher Bell, but what are you going to do? But anyway, his price continues to drop. I don't know why he's so cheap. DraftKings hates him. Like, he should not be, 600 cheaper than Daniel Suarez? Like, come on. I know Eric Jones has not been good here, but come on. He should not be that cheap. So, he's starting 13th, but this has not been a good track for him at all. He's only averaging 15.9 DraftKings points per race, average finish of 21.8, average running position of 19.3, 1 top 15, 2 top 20s. This has not been a good track for Eric Jones, but man, that price tag, if he could stay in the top 15, I would take it. But I don't think he's going to be as high owned this week just because he's not as good at Martinsville as he is at other tracks. So I wouldn't expect him to be the chalk galore, but I do like the price tag Problem is, I feel like I'd rather play Ty Dillon, maybe Austin Dillon, Cole Custer instead of him, just because we get a little bit more PD upside at a little bit of a cheaper price point. And Jones has just really struggled here, but he has been pretty good this season, and I don't know, he's due for a solid race here. But I don't know, I like the price point, so I will have some Eric Jones. Definitely not going to fade him. He's starting a little bit too high, but the guy has top 10 potential. I mean, he's in great equipment in JGR, so I can trust the equipment. And the guy's obviously very talented. It's just he's not had a good go at it, whatever I'm trying to say, at Martinsville yet. But I like the price point. So if track history is an ownership thing nowadays, it's going to lower Eric Jones a bit. So he's probably a pretty good tournament option. Wouldn't play him in cash games, though. Eric Almirola, 6,400. He's starting second, and he just keeps on starting second. I don't remember the last time he didn't start second. The last time I remember is actually when he started 40th. So he's either been second or 40th, it seems like. So starting second, I don't like him now. He has been pretty good at Martinsville. He has a top 10, 3 top 15s, 5 top 20s, which is pretty good for someone in this price tag. Problem is, he's starting second, so I see him dominating at all. You got Ryan Blaney on the, obviously they're going to be side by side, but I would trust Ryan Blaney to get the lead early on Eric Almirola. You also got Joey Logano behind him, and then all the fleet of all the other good cars. So I don't see it going well for Eric Almirola early. So I don't think I'm going to have really any of him. You could sprinkle him in a couple in case he gets the lead on the restart. Because look, if Blaney messes up on the jump to start the race, and Almirola takes over early and leads a large chunk of laps, you are going to have a huge edge on the field in tournaments. But that's just me talking possibilities. I don't think that's actually going to happen. I trust Ryan Blaney to get out front early, and even if Almirola did get out early, I mean, I think Logano or someone who could just pass him right away. So not really interested in Almirola. If he can stay, let's say he stays inside the top 10, picks up some fast laps, at 6,400, that's not too bad. We're probably guaranteeing he's going to get negative place differential because he's not going to win this race, and I don't think he's going to finish second. But let's say he finishes inside the top 8, and he picks up a okay amount of fast laps. It's not the worst play in the world. So he's a tournament option. Definitely not cash, but not someone I'm really high on. But I don't mind the price tag. Ty Dillon, he's at 6,200. He's starting 30th. I feel like he's going to have a decent amount of ownership this week just because of where he's starting. I mean, track history here isn't great, but he's got an average finish of 21, averaging 30 DraftKings points per race, which actually isn't that bad. And he's got an average running position of 23.3, 1 top 15, 2 top 20s. He's fine. It's not like he's going to knock your sock. Is it blow your socks off, knock your socks off? But he's okay. I don't expect much from Ty Dillon. He doesn't have anything other than 6 races, so we can't look at the past 10 races for Ty Dillon. But he's going to get you a positive PD outside of a wreck. So Ty Dillon, definitely going to have some ownership on him just because of the price tag and where he's starting. But there is some guys I do prefer more than Ty Dillon that are going to be priced below him, which we'll talk about like right now. So Austin Dillon, he's at 6,100. This is just way too cheap. And ever since the restart, since the pandemic, when they had to take a couple months off, ever since then, he's been looking really good. I think he has an average finish of near 10, actually. And Martinsville has not been too bad of a track for Austin Dillon. He has 3 top 15s here the past 6 races, 1 top 10, 1 top 5, drive rating of 73, which is respectable, average running position of 19, average finish of 18.5. He's starting 22nd at 6,100, and he's looked pretty darn good ever since the NASCAR restart. So I think Austin Dillon's going to be one of the more chalkier plays. Now, the only problem we have with Austin Dillon is he's got the baby thing going on. Now, that could either work in both ways. He could either be his head jambled, wondering if his wife's going to have the kid, or he's going to go out there and ball out in honor of it. I don't know. I'm just talking possibilities here, but let's just say that doesn't exist, and Austin Dillon's going out there to have a regular race during 22nd at Martinsville at 6,100. Yeah, I'm going to be pretty interested. So I think Austin Dillon's one of the best cheap plays on the entire slate. I like the starting spot. He's been pretty good at Martinsville. If you look at the past 10 races for him here, he has 2 top 5s, 4 top 15s, 6 top 20s. So it's like 60% success rate that he's going to get inside the top 20, which is obviously going to be positive PD for where he's starting. So Austin Dillon, don't mind him at all. I think he's going to be pretty popular, but I think it's for good reason. He was also in the optimal lineup at Atlanta. Cole Custer, I think he was 6,100 last race, ended up being in the optimal, scored around 40 DraftKings points, and now his price dropped because, of course, right? So he's starting 27th. It's never fun trusting rookies, but I mean, these rookies are better than most. And Cole Custer at 5,900, he's in Stewart Haas equipment. He's turning 27th. He's got top 20 potential, so I expect him to be very popular once again. Probably going to be the most popular guy in this 5K tier. Might even be the most popular guy that's below 7K, maybe. I'm not totally sure yet, but I love that starting spot on him. And I also love his price tag. This season, he's got an average running position of 22, average finish of 20.4, which isn't great, but he's also 5,900. So he's got a top 10, 2 top 15, 6 top 20. So I think Cole Custer is a tremendous play. Corey LaJoie starting 25th. Going to pass there. I'd rather play Priest. I'd rather play Busher. I'd rather play Nemechek, I guess, and I'd rather play Cole Custer. So I don't really see a reason to play Corey LaJoie. He's got an average running position of near 30 here, 1 top 20, drive rating of 39, which is just abysmal. So going to be a pass for me on Corey LaJoie. I gotta see how long this video is right now. 15 minutes. I'm sorry, guys. Hopefully you're enjoying the video, but this is a long one. Okay, so Ryan Priest, he's starting 28th. He's 5,700, which is a nice price tag. I mean, 2 career races here, so it's not much of a sample size. But he's got an average finish of 17.5, average running position of 20, and 2 top 20s. So I think Ryan Priest is actually a pretty solid play. Would I prefer Custer for 200 more because he's just in better equipment overall? Yes, but Priest is not a bad second option there, starting 28th. So I do like Priest. Think he's definitely a nice punt. Chris Buescher starting 24th. He's a decent option too. He's got an average finish here of 16.8 the past 6 races. He's got 3 top 15s, the best drive rating of this entire group, besides the 2 rookies, John Hunter Nemechek and Cole Custer. But I think Chris Buescher's fine. Starting 24th, 5,600. He should be decently popular because he's going to allow you to fit in guys like Keselowski, Kyle Busch, Truex, all those guys. So there's a lot of good 5K punts. And like I was talking about like an hour ago, we can easily fit in all the dominators we want because there's so many good options here that are 6K and below. You got Austin Dillon, Cole Custer, Ryan Priest, Chris Buescher. Not really sure on Nemechek, but I mean, there's definitely a lot of solid options in the 5K range that makes building lineups really easy this week, in my opinion. So yeah, I do like Buescher, John Hunter Nemechek, rookie, but he's had a fast car this season. He has been driving really well. He's starting 18th, so his upside's limited, and I'd much prefer Buescher, Priest, and Cole Custer, but he's going to be pretty low owned, so if you want to get a little bit different and hope he can finish inside the top 20, I don't hate it, but nothing I'm too excited about. Then after that, I'm not going to plan on going any lower, maybe besides Michael McDowell, who's starting 29th. He's got an average running position here at 25.9. Drive rating of 50, which is better than most guys, better than all the guys priced down here. Average finish of 24.2, 1 top 20, so he's not terrible. Nothing too exciting, but if you need the extra savings off a guy like Buescher, you need $500 more, Michael McDowell 5,100 is really not the worst option. He could pick up a few spots. So, but after Michael McDowell, I'm not going to play Yaley. I'm not going to play Poole. I'm not going to play Huff, or Half, I should say. I'm not going to play Gase, Smithley, Timmy Hill. So, yeah, Michael McDowell's going to be the lowest I go. What was he last race? Was he 50? Wasn't he 5,100 or 5,200? His price dropped. And I don't think he made the optimal. I think it was someone else, but he had a great race though. So, but yeah, Michael McDowell, like him, but that's about as low as I would go. So, that was a really long video, but that's going to be it that I have to talk about. If you made it through the entire thing, let me know in the comments below. If you did, that's pretty impressive because I don't think I would have made it. This is a long video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Make sure you are around for the live stream on Wednesday. It's going to be sometime in the afternoon. I'll let you guys know on Twitter. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Remember to leave a like. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you want to support me over on Patreon, feel free to do so. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.